Okay. Yep.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today. Today we are going to do some Asian marinated pork chops and spicy green beans. And we're going to start off by making the marinade for our pork chops because we need to let that marinate for about 15 to 20 minutes. That way it can kind of do its magic and get everything ready. So I'm going to mix everything up here in a measuring cup so that way it's easy to deal with and you don't have to worry about pouring it into a bowl after you measure it and dirtying up more dishes. So we're going to do a fourth cup of soy sauce. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of hoisin barbecue sauce, or hoisin sauce. It's kind of like an Asian barbecue sauce. I love the stuff on everything. So we're going to do that. Add that in there. 3 tablespoons of honey. I always try to do the honey second, third, or if you know you're going to measure some oil out, measure the oil first, then do your honey, so that way it'll help get it out of the measuring spoon. You don't have to worry about it sticking and not getting accurate measurement for your second spoonful. Then we need a tablespoon of sweet chili sauce. This is readily available in most every grocery store. Along with the hoisin sauce, it's just in the Asian food aisles. We'll add that. Then we need a teaspoon of garlic. I forgot, or 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger. I didn't grab fresh ginger at the store because I thought I had it here, so we'll do a teaspoon of powdered ginger. Then we just need a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of sesame oil. Be careful with this stuff; it can overtake your dish. This is a 4th teaspoon, so that's why I'm doing it a couple of times. Need that for our next dish. And then we need 3 cloves of chopped garlic. I need garlic for my next recipe as well. So I'm going to chop up a few cloves so I can chop once, use twice. So to get the fresh ginger out of the kind of skins, you just place your knife on it. You need to smash it with the palm of your hand, making sure you don't try to curl your fingers down. Just smash it, get it out. It's a good way to get some aggression out. So we got our garlic smashed. Now we just gotta peel it. This also makes it a little easier to peel when you smash it. And it's already kind of smashed up, so it's a little easier to chop as well. So we're getting all this peeled now. Come on. It's a little sticky sometimes, but it's worth the work. Fresh garlic makes everything better. And it helps keep the vampires away, so whenever they come in 2020, we'll be ready. We'll have our fresh garlic chopped. Getting our, that's 2 cloves, all right. Get that out of there. And this is our last clove. We'll pick up these skins or papers, whatever you want to call them, throw them away. Kind of press it all together, remove it all together. Start chopping it up. Got a little more of that garlic paper on my knife. One trick I kind of do whenever I chop garlic is I'll wipe it all off the knife and I'll use the edge of my knife and kind of smash it. This will help break it up and give us a little bit of garlic smash as opposed to just chopped pieces. And you can run your knife through it one or 2 more times. That makes everything nice and easily chopped. So we'll take part of that, add it to our marinade, save the rest for later when we do our green beans. So then we just need to mix this all up. And we would just pour it over top of our pork chops. I went ahead and did some marinade up and put it on top of my pork chops. I got 4 bone-in pork chops here, and we'll use a little bit of this here in a second. Now we need to get our green beans ready. We're using the haricot vert kind. They're the thin French-style green beans. All we'll need to do for those is kind of chop the ends off. We'll do that here in a second. We'll chop, the stem end off and the tail end off. We'll do that in a second once we get our everything else cut up. The recipe calls for 1 bell pepper, but I have these mini bell peppers still, so I'm going to go ahead and use those instead. So let's go and cut the top of it off, cut it in half, and just kind of get some little half moon slices out of it. I'm just kind of doing these a little thin so that way they can cook down with the onion here in a second. We'll do that for the other 2 peppers as well. And when I get the bell peppers for this dish, I like getting a red or yellow or orange pepper for it, so that way we get a little more color. So that way if you get the green bell pepper, you got green beans. It's not visually as appealing, whereas if you get the colored bell peppers, you get a little more color to it when you cook everything. So it'll look prettier for that Instagram picture, or when you show your friends what you had for dinner the next day. So we got our peppers cut up. Now I'm just going to do up half of an onion. I got a purple onion. You can do white onion if you want. It'll be okay. So we're just cutting this in half, and I'm just going to peel it. And actually, you can go ahead and cut the other end of it off too, because we're going to just finely chop this guy as well. We kind of want the julienne, so that way we can get some nice onion strings in with the green beans as opposed to just diced up onion. So we got our onions and peppers done, our garlic's done. We're going to go ahead and start those up, and then we'll start cleaning up our green beans. So I'm going to put a little bit of sesame oil in my first pan here for my green beans, and a little olive oil in my second pan for my pork chops. So we got our oil ready. Heat our pans up for a second. We're going to let these get a little warm before we start cooking with them. And while we do that, I want to chop up my Serrano pepper here. If you don't want to do a fresh spicy pepper in there, you can easily just do a teaspoon or 2 of fresh red pepper flakes, or you can leave the spice out completely and just have the onions and peppers in there with the green beans, and it'll still be a nice yummy dish. This Serrano, it's not too spicy. It's a little hotter than a jalapeno, but not too much. So we're just going to cut that up thinly, and we'll sprinkle it into the dish, and it'll be good. Move the oil around a little bit. We'll go ahead and add in our onions and peppers to this one. Kind of break up those onions a little bit, so that way they'll take up more space and you'll cook down a little faster. We'll hold off on the spicy pepper and the garlic for a little bit. That garlic will kind of burn in the time it takes to cook down the onions and peppers. And we will go ahead and get our pork chops going. We might have to do a couple rotations on the pork chops depending on the size of your chops and the size of your pan. So we'll do 2 pork chops for now, then I can do 2 later, because I don't want to overcrowd the pan and just steam the pork chops. We want to get a little bit of a sear on them. So I'll do those in a second round in a second. Now for the green beans, like I was saying, we need to clean them just a little bit and cut the stems of them off. So we'll kind of just stack them all together, end by end. picking out some of the stuff that doesn't look too great. We'll wash them off too here in just a second. So we're just, stacking them together. We'll just kind of chop one end off, give it a little turn, chop the other end off. We'll put those to the side. Get the end off these. End off these. There's a couple short ones in here. Make sure you get those. Do that. We're going to do this with the whole bags. We want about a pound of green beans for this recipe. So if you don't have the haricot vert beans, you can do regular green beans. It'll just take a little bit longer whenever you saute them, and that's all right. Cleaning up our green beans still. A couple shorties. Get these done. And if you got a nice farmer's market around you, you can find fresh green beans this time of year, and they're great. I didn't have a chance to go to mine this weekend, but I'm hoping this weekend to make it out there and find something yummy and bring it back here and show you guys how to make stuff fresh from the farmer's market. Get these ready to go. And get these last couple here, and we'll be good to go. Then lined up, chop, and we'll chop for these last two. Throw all this away. We got colander right here. So we'll throw these guys in the colander, give them a good rinse, and they will be ready to saute here in just a second. We'll let those sit there for just a second while we cook everything. That way they can drain a little bit. We got our onions and peppers going. Our pork chops are starting to go. You want to do about 5 to 6 minutes aside on your pork chops, depending on your thickness. If you got those nice thick ones, you probably need to do about 8 minutes. These look about medium thickness, so we'll do about 7 minutes aside, and then we'll add some of that marinade to the pan and make a nice little sauce. We'll reduce that for a second and then pour it over top of the pork chops. That. Our onions and peppers are looking good. We're going to go ahead and add the rest of the spicy peppers and the garlic now, because by the time the rest of the onions and peppers are cooked down, those will be good, and we add our green beans and our sauce and be all set. For our sauce, all we need to do is just add a little brown sugar. So we need 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. There we go. So 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. 1, 2. And then a tablespoon of soy sauce. And just need to mix that together. I'm going to give this just a splash more soy sauce. This is looking a little dry to me. So So we got, you know, kind of a nice paste looking thing going. And we'll add that to our green beans here in a second. We want to make sure we get the green beans in there and cook first before we add our brown sugar and soy sauce. Those pork chops are smelling good, and so are these onions and peppers. Just want to take a little look-see at these and get under it. Yeah, it's looking good. So our pork chops are looking good. Our onions and peppers are looking good. We're going to go ahead and add our green beans to the onions and peppers now. Give this a nice little toss to kind of mix everything up. And basically just want to cook this for about another 5 minutes. We kind of just want to get the green beans a little tender. We don't want to cook them to mush, but we want a little bit of give in them. Then we'll add that right at the end, and it'll kind of caramelize on everything and stick to everything. It'll be a nice, yummy sauce. It's the hard part, waiting for dinner sometimes. We haven't had pork chops in a while, so this is going to be a nice treat for me. Maybe I'll share it with the camera guy today. Do you eat pork chops, Jonathan?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I'll give you a bite of one of those. We've been expanding his eating habits. We've gotten him to try a few things and actually like them, so it's been fun. So I'm giving this another toss here. And if you're wondering how to toss stuff like that, start off with a smaller pan and put, one dry bean in there. So that way, as you're tossing, instead of having a whole pan full of food, throwing the pan everywhere, you start with one bean. Once you kind of get that rhythm down, you can add some more beans to it, and then once you got it down to where you're not having any of these beans go flying anywhere, you can try it with your actual meal, and it'll be a success. And you can show off for your friends. Then you can work up to you have them in two pans and get going. I'm not going to do it with pork chops because we just kind of want to let them sit there and sear. Yeah, the other side's looking really good. That's the marinade on there, kind of caramelizing and helping brown the pork chops. These are looking pretty good. You can eat your pork chops with a little bit of pink inside of it, so if you start eating them and you see that, don't get too scared. It's okay. They can do that. We're going to take them. We'll put them on the side here to kind of rest for a second. Pork chops are just like steaks or chicken. You want to let them sit for a couple minutes before you dive in and start eating them, so that way the juices can kind of recongeal in the pork chop. So this is that marinade we just made. We're just going to take a little bit of it, pour it in the pan here, and I'll kind of cook. I'll go ahead and do all of it since I'll use the rest for the other pork chops. We're kind of just going to let this cook for a second. It'll kind of reduce for a little. That'll be a nice sauce drizzle on top of everything. Our green beans are looking good. So let's see how these guys are going. They're almost there. They need probably just another minute or two. They're just a little firm. I got that heat from the Serrano, so that's going to be good once we get everything together. That brown sugar will blend with that spice nicely. And like I said, if you don't like Serranos and you think they're too spicy, leave them out completely and just do the onions and bell peppers. Or you could do some crushed red pepper flake. Or if you like the spicier, feel free to do habaneros or ghost peppers or whatever you might like. So these guys are about done. We're going to go ahead and add our soy sauce and brown sugar mixture to our green beans. This is going to give everything a nice little coating of sauce. Sometimes even when you do this for a long time, you still send green beans flying, but it's okay. They'll still be good. You really just want that brown sugar to kind of caramelize onto everything, and that way it'll pick up the flavor of the onions, the peppers, the serranos. You just got a little touch of salt, a little black pepper. And that is done. Our sauce is reduced a little bit. So now we need to take some green beans here. Making sure you get those onions and peppers in there, because that's going to give it some nice flavor. Can't wait to eat this one. Get a nice pork chop. Put that on there. And then you can take a nice sauce here. Kind of get it to the edge of the pan. You can kind of just drizzle it right on top. Drizzle a little on the green beans too, it'll be okay. Now you got a nice Asian marinade pork chop and spicy green beans for dinner. And that took about 20 minutes to do after you marinate the pork chop. So, hope you guys try it. I'm going to dig in, see how this guy goes. I haven't had pork chop in a while, so I'm excited at that. That's cooked nicely. Ooh, yeah, it's just slightly pink. Yeah. Still cooked all the way, but just a little pink to it, which is perfectly fine for pork chops. So good, Jonathan, you're not going to get this. I'm sorry. Tune in next time when we make something else nice and yummy, and I'll try to stuff my face and talk while we finish it up. Thank you guys. We'll see you then.